When adding and subtracting radicals that are unlike, it's important to simplify the radicals. And a good thing to look for is a clue to help you. In this one, the radical 5 is in its simplest form. This one is not, so I should be looking for radical 5 to be in here so that once this is simplified, I can combine like terms. Same thing here. Radical 2 is its most simplified form. I should be looking for a factor of 2 inside here so that I can combine with this radical 2. Radical 3 is in its simplified form. I should be looking for radical 3, or 3, to be a factor of this number here. So let's see how that plays out. 8 radical 5, like we said, is simplified, so that's just going to remain the same. 9 radical 20. Well, if we look at 9 times the square root of 20, that's really 9 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. We listed the factors of 20 with perfect squares first. So this is really 9 times the square root of 4, which is 2, times the square root of 5. 9 times 2 is 18. So this is really 18 radical 5. So 8 radical 5 plus 18 radical 5. Now these are in like radicals, so I can combine them. 8 plus 18 is 26. So this would be 26 times the square root of 5. Next in here, same idea. I have a simplified radical here. I can't simplify the square root of 2 anymore. So I should be looking for 2, or the square root of 2, to be a factor of this radical square root of 50. This negative 7 radical 2 isn't going anywhere. It's going to stay. And now I need to simplify this 9 radical 50. Well, that's really 9 times the square root of 25 times 2, which is really 9 times the square root of 25 times the square root of 2, which is really 9 times 5 times the square root of 2. So that's 45 radical 2. So negative 7 plus 45, that's the same as 45 minus 7. So 45 minus 5 would be 40. 40 minus the remaining 2 would be 38. So this would be 38 radical 2. Now, for this one, negative 8 times the square root of 3 minus 3 times the square root of 75. Well, the square root of 3 is already a simplified radical, so I'm looking to find a factor of 3 in 75 so that I can then simplify that way. So I already have the minus sign written here. I already brought that down, so I'm just going to look at 3 times, and instead of the square root of 75, I'm going to write that as the square root of 25 times 3. So it's 3 times the square root of 25 times the square root of 3. So that's really 3 times 5 times the square root of 3, or 15 times the square root of 3. Negative 8 of something minus 15 of that same thing would be negative 8 minus 15 would be negative 23 times the square root of 3. All right, so with each of these, that's the process. You want to break up the unsimplified radical into its simplified form, and the radicand in the other term is usually a good indicator of what the common term is going to be.